the concept of session? What will count as a session? What will not count as a session? So can we do some examples over here? But I want answers from everybody, right? So is this clear? Session would be changing from what point? If it is inactive for 30 minutes or more after midnight based on the time zone of Google Analytics and not of the user. So my account time zone can be in India. The customer's time zone will be in US. Reports will come in which time zone? India or US? So I have opened an account with India time zone, but my customer is in US. Possible? That is okay. So when the no, it'll come in Indian time zone, Rajesh and everybody. So because the reporting is based on my account time zone and not on user's time zone. Make sense? Because I may have users from multiple states, right? Multiple countries. So it will be based on our time zone. Us, us, not USA, US. So let's take some example. Okay. So you know what is hit? Hit is when they come to a website. You know what is session? User. People coming on a platform. Whenever somebody comes to my website, Google Analytics will give each user a new client ID. It identifies users on the basis of a client ID allocated by Google Analytics. Got it? So every time somebody comes to a website, if it's for the first time, Google will check, okay, now again, Google does not know us personally. It will check the browser. It will check whether cookie is there or not. It will check which channel it is coming from. It will check it is coming from which person and all this stuff. Okay? Session timeout for logged in users is different from GUI users. Remember, yesterday you were talking about few things where the session gets auto logged out. For GA, it will not be a new session. Am I clear? Yes. For GA, it will not be a new session. For GA, it will be on this. So now let's take us some examples before we take it forward. Right? Let me go ahead and delete all the. I'll just stop my screen share for a minute so that I can go ahead and delete all the answers for you. Right? And this is very important. If you understand this, then we'll go and look at the account settings and how the account settings are done and few other basic reports. Cool. Let's start now. Let me again give my screen share to everybody. Share, desktop, Zoom, Zoom, and chat. Okay. Let us put the right side. Okay. Okay. Zoom. This zooms. Okay. Cool. Great. Now, so now we have understood what is user. Now, what do you mean by cookie? It's not the cookie that you eat. Cookie, we all know what is cookie. If I have to ask you in normal English language, small computer program designed to store new value for a specific period of time, right? Cookie is that. So the moment you come on a website, if the code is install of analytics, right, a cookie gets dropped. So what is a cookie? It is a small computer program, right? Basically cache cookie, which gets dropped on your in your device, right? And from there, Google will advise, yes, we've got one new user, and if it's a unique user or a repeat user. Okay. Now, this is, and one cookie can stay in your device for up to 540 days to 2 years. Okay. So once you go to any website, if you use Google Analytics, the data can be tracked for up to 2 years. Cool. Now, can one user be identified as two users or two different sessions in GA? Is it possible? Yes or no? How? Zain, can you give me an example on this? So can one user be classified as two different users in GA? Brilliant point, Zaid. Absolutely, yes. Can two different users be clubbed as one? So can sometimes GA club two different users as one users? Possible? Swastik, I am not sure. I'm not even sure about the exam. So probably you will have to talk to your training coordinator because I'm not sure of anything else apart from the training content, to be honest. I'm not sure, the assignment. Uh, so I don't even know what is the 10 rupee course and what is the full-time course. And honestly, so I'm just a guest faculty, so I do not know their marketing things of 10 rupees or 100 rupees. So maybe you can talk to the program coordinator once the session is over. Would that help? Okay, so there is a message from somebody from Board Infinity. Exam will be held in the third week of April. So maybe you can check it with them. Okay, cool. Yeah, coming back to our topic. Okay, people for the exam and assignment, let's talk it after the session. I'm going to say you have your training coordinator always to get in touch with you. What do you think? I'm going to say let's use the time for training. We only have 2 more hours and we have got to cover a lot of things. Fair enough, Sonal. Is it okay? Or do you want to get the answer now so I can wait? Or you want to check later with the training coordinator and get back to me? Yeah, can check later also if possible. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Sonal, for your understanding. Thank you. So we all okay, great. Thank you very much, Sonal. So can two different users be uh, sometimes clubbed as one user? Is it possible in GA that two different users come and become as like one user? Possible? What do you think? Any idea? Can two different users be identified as one user? How? Said great. So people who have learned GA will know this answer. How Jay, how Yashu and Hiral? Sometimes it's possible we may share a device. Yes. Sometimes possible that we may just share our mobile phones from here and there or share our laptops and people may just come and browse. So now your next question will be, right, Praful, if data is inaccurate, how can I make meaningful analysis of inaccurate data? Correct? If data is so inaccurate, how can I even use? Because then my marketing thing will not be really effortful. Is that your question? Very, very correct. I had this question when my trainer told me that sometimes the data might be, discrepant. One user might show as two users, two might show as one user. So if there's so much of data discrepancy, can I rely on this data for my marketing programs? What is your point of view on this? So even before we learning, you have to understand cookie can have temporal limits. Cookie has a limit of almost 2 years, Swastik. First of all, once it finds some user that it's one user, it will be there for almost 2 years. I'm going to say. So when you say temporal limits, can you expand on that, Swastik? But others, this was my question. If the data is so inaccurate, where two becomes one, one becomes two, can I really use it for my analysis? Because based on this analysis only, I'm planning my future training programs, my future things of customers. So what's the answer? Because I asked this question, you're telling it to me, yes, yes. Think what can you do? So marketing, you can, so what you can do is, you can put a date over there, right, of 30 days, 60 days. But logically, I would want the date to be for a much longer reach. You can also put dates, you can put filters. In fact, you can start looking at data only. right? But it is advisable to look data at a bigger date range to make it more meaningful, right? So say, but you have option, right? Not to capture data from this date. Cool. Maybe based on few assumptions looking at the data. Okay. So people, marketing when it's done right, it's not done at individual level. So when you do marketing on the online platform of digital, will you do one-to-one marketing or will you try to do it to a group of people together? What is ideal when you do online marketing? Will you want to do it one-on-one or will you want to do it for a group of people together? So marketing is done at this level, segmenting, targeting, and positioning. So let's say if me and my, let's say my laptop is there, I logged in, one user is identified. Now my wife also logs in, right? From the same laptop. Google think is the same user, right? Now majorly, most of the times, don't you think me and my wife will have similar buying habits? So 90% of the times, at least for things with their household. So don't you think they will try to do marketing at mass level? It will not make a bigger impact. Small 1-2% impact will happen, but not a very big impact because I'm doing it at segmenting level. So people who may use the same device, can they also have same behavior pattern? Possible. Second thing, have you ever realized why does Facebook want you to tag friends? What is the benefit of tagging friends? Of course, to show off that we are good friends, but don't you think Facebook may also use this to do similar audience targeting? Because if me and my friends are going to clubs constantly, something which some ad or something which my friend sees, Facebook may see me also as a prospective person who might be interested in that ad. Am I correct, people? That's what grouping is all about. You try to understand and identify some common behavior patterns, some common attributes, something in common so that you can target people at mass level. So it does not matter much, maybe a 1 or 2% problem, but overall, even if you club two different users as one user, if they are from same family, same friends, it's usually same segment, correct? Not much of a difference. Correct? Now let's come to hits and sessions. You tell me the number count. You all got the logic of hits and sessions. Hit is when somebody opens my page. Session is based on this. Correct? And this is where people get confused. So I will ask you a lot of questions now. Are you all game for answer? Without getting answers, we'll not proceed. Because no point in going into further deep dive if you have not understood how to check hits and how to check sessions. Make sense, people? So let me take a quiz for all of you. Let's say I go to flipkart.com at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and 3 p.m. How many hits it is? How many hits it is? 3 hits, right? Perfect. Hits is 3. Now let's talk about sessions. So I go to amazon.com at 1 p.m., right? I go to page 1 and I go to page 2 at 1:10 p.m. How many hits and how many sessions? At 1 p.m., I go to page 1 at 1:10 p.m. 2 hits, 1 session. Okay, perfect. At 1:35 p.m., I go to page 3. How many hits and how many sessions? At 1:35 p.m., I go to page 3. How many hits and how many? Okay, 2 sessions. How many of you say, okay, 3 sessions? Guys, if you do type, okay, how many of you say, so hits would be 3 and it would 2 session or 1 session. Vishal says 1. Gitika says 1 now. Why it is 1? Why not 2? I mean, why it is 1? Why not 2? Just a random question for me to understand. Absolutely, minimum 30 minutes difference. It's not more than 30 minutes, just 25 minutes, right? Yes, so it's 25 minutes, Vishal. Absolutely. See, 110 to 125 is 25 minutes, the same session. Am I right? And in the same source. I'm going to say the same browser, everything is same. Perfect, people, perfect. Now, I close my browser. I reboot my laptop. I was using Chrome earlier. I close my browser. I reboot my laptop. I again go and open Amazon.com, page 4 from 1:50 p.m. from the same browser. How many hits and how many sessions? 3 over here and 1 over here. How many hits and how many sessions? Guys, let me know if you're not able to follow. This is a very important concept. Did you get my point? I close my browser, reboot my laptop, open again at 1:50 p.m. Okay, so 4 hits and 2 sessions. How many of you agree with Yashu over here? Sandeep is 4 to, okay. Others? Do you all agree with Yashu and Sandeep? Session data server side. So what do you mean by server side, Swastik? So definitely the session data is captured on the server of Google Analytics. So once you get a data, it gets a data on GA server. So that's what you mean by server side, or what do you mean by server side? I mean, can you expand more on that? So sessions are definitely saved on Google servers. Yes, no worries. If absolutely, I agree with you, Swastik. So even if the laptop reboots, it does not really make any changes because it gets saved at server side. Yes. To answer your question, yes, Swastik. Yes. That's the answer of your question. 4 and 2, okay. Restored page open, okay. So it's 4 and 2, right? How many of you agree on 4 and 2? Okay. So as Sandeep said, it does not trigger a new thing. 135 to 150, when I go and open from same device, same browser, will the cookie be same? Yes? It should be same, right? Same design, same browser. Swastik, to answer the question, it will not change at all. No worries at all. Okay. So what is the difference? The difference is 15 minutes. So now, don't you think my session count will not increase? So my session count will not increase in this case because I came from the same browser and same device and within 30 minutes. Swastik, are you clear on this now? And everybody else also? So whenever you click on anything, you get Google Click ID. Now the system, cookies are usually client side. See, I am not sure of this technical stuff, Swastik, technical client or server side. For me, it's very simple. Cookie gets dropped. Every cookie has one ID and it will get saved on your device, on your browser until you delete cache or cookies. Be it client side or server side, I am not sure. To be very honest, I'm not that technical in coding, but for me, it does not matter if be it on client side or server side. The cookie will not change unless you change the source. And when I say the source, it would be the device IP address. It can also be basically a browser, a OS, or something like that. Incognito mode is not even tracked. So when you go to incognito mode, it says that we will not save your data at all. So if you go in your incognito mode, it will not track data of analytics. If you reboot, new cookie will stabilize so 4.2. No. If you reboot also, if see, when you reboot, right? I reboot. If I go back to let's say the same website, Amazon.com, it will be a new hit. Now Google checks, GA checks, okay, this person has come now, hit has come. Did he previously come from the same device, same browser? Yes, then the same cookie gets refreshed. That's why you will see repeat user and not unique user. Even if you reboot, Vishal, it will still, because there's a Google Click ID assigned to every browser, every device. Okay. So Hiral, forget the part of reboot as of now. Okay. So 135 to 150. Is it more than 30 minutes or less than 30 minutes? Right? Same browser. So do you think it will be a new session, or it would be a continuity of the old session? So the rule says midnight, it's not midnight, it's not more than 30 minutes, and the source was same, right? Now, let's think of reboot. Okay? If it reboots, right, you come back on, so when you reboot and you again go to Amazon.com. So remember I told you, whenever you go to a new website, Google will give you a Google Click ID. Okay? So now this Click ID is bound to a user. So when you again reboot and go back to the website, now Google Analytics will check on its server. Okay, I see a new hit coming in. Very good. Now this hit is from this device and this browser, this IP address from this OS. Okay, for all these four things, I already have a matching Click ID involved, so it will not give you a new cookie. Then we'll check, okay, the cookie is same. Now let's check if it is more than 30 minutes. No, then it will not be a new session. Now it is clear, Hiral and everybody else, why it will be the same session. And this part is very confusing. That's why I gave these examples. Because people will teach you a lot of things of GA, whatever, but basics like this, nobody will teach you. And then the entire data that you report to your client will be wrong. Right? So unless you work hands-on, you will never know this kind of integrities. And even when you go on for online trainings, they will not teach you with this kind of examples. So I thought, let me give all the examples for you. Whatever we learn over here, let's learn it perfectly. Though we may learn less, but learn it perfectly. That's the idea. Cool. Now, so it's 4 hits, same session, right? Now I go for lunch. I keep my laptop open, right? We do that, right? Just to show that I am not going for a bigger break. And I go for lunch, and we go for a long lunch break. At least I take a long lunch break when I'm working. So I go for lunch at 1:50. I come back at 2:30 and again open Amazon.com. So the page is open. I just do a refresh, right? I just do a refresh. How many hits and how many sessions? How many hits and how many sessions? Why 2 sessions, everybody? Plus one in both. Why 2 sessions, everybody? I want to know logic also. Brilliant, my dear friends. Brilliant. Amazing you people are. 5 and 2. And I do this. Now I think, let me do some office work. I close everything. I go to home. Right? I go back to my home. And after watching some movie, whatever, I decide I want to continue my shopping. Correct? So I log in again from a laptop at 11:45. I again open Amazon.com. How many hits and how many sessions? How many hits and how many sessions? Why 3 sessions? Hits is fine. Why 3 sessions? Because it's more than 30 minutes and everything, right? This is no. Now 12:05, I open some page number 7 on Amazon. How many hits and how many? Yes. 12:05, I open one more page on Amazon.com. Now how many hits and how many sessions? Okay, why 4 sessions? One. Okay, let's talk about continuity. I know it's a new day. But Sandhya, let's continue from here. 6 and 3. So will it be 6 and 3, 7 and 3, or 7 and 4? So what's the next count at 12? 7 and 3? Okay, Vishal says 7 and 3. How many of you agree with Vishal over here? Why 4 sessions, Yashu? Why 4? It is not even 30 minutes, right? Why 4 sessions? Why 4 sessions over here? Absolutely brilliant, my dear friends. It's of course on the next day. So if I continue my reporting, all time reporting, 7 sessions, 7 hits and 4 sessions. At 12:20, I close this browser. I open my email and I see an Amazon newsletter. How many hits and how many sessions? Let's take all time. Let's not go to one by one. Let's take all time. So from 7, what's next? What will it be, a same session or a new session? At 12:20, I close that page, go to my email, click on Amazon newsletter. Would it increase my session time? Same session, okay. So it would be 8 and 4. Okay, same session, okay. Okay, people. So over here is my source changing from Google search. I'm going to email as my source. Yes. And what did I tell you over here? Even if you change the browser, it will change. Forget the browser. Over here, I am changing the entire channel only. From Google search, I'm becoming email. Email is also counted as a source of traffic, by the way, right? So the moment you change the source, it would be a new session. Am I correct? So it would be 8 hits and 5 sessions. Now I close this Chrome browser which I use for email. Now I open the same thing in Internet Explorer. What is the count of hits and what is the count of sessions? Anybody over here? Why the 6 sessions? Why it's one more session, people? Any idea? Absolutely yes. It's a new browser altogether, and that's why it would be a new session. Brilliant. Now you got the concept of hits and sessions perfectly fine, people. Yes, any question? This is a basic, and that's why I thought let's spend more time over here. Correct? So people who visit our website or platform is called GA. How does GA identify its new users? Of course, they don't know us by name, right? Now again, guys, you have to remember, Google Analytics cannot, cannot save your personal identifiable information. No, that's not their domain. They will never, even if you are signing in with your login information, it does not capture that, right? It does not capture your login information. GA does not capture your sign information. If I am using Google Analytics, I will not be able to see my users' login information. That's not possible, right? So how do they identify? GA identifies user with the help of a unique click ID. We call it GCLID. First, GA checks if there's a valid client ID. Yes or no? If no, client ID is there. GA creates a unique client ID, stores it in a cookie, and drops this cookie in the visitor's browser. Make sense? Cool. How do you check that? See, if you want to check whether GA code is firing or not, right? There is a tool, a Chrome store called Tag Assistant. Tag Assistant. It's a Chrome add-on. Hey, what happened? Okay. Crosswalks. Okay. One, two, three. It's very difficult, huh? Two, three, four, five. Oh, that's making it so difficult is this? Oh, finally. So this is a tag assistant. It checks what kind of codes are firing or not. So yeah, but I don't want to use my main window, right? So you have a code for AdWords conversion tracking. You have a code for Google Analytics, remarketing. You want to check what kind of codes are firing or not. So you add this tag assistant in your Chrome, right? And then let's say go to Myntra.com. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, ad has come, not bad. Right? So you will see over here tag assistant. You see this tag assistant. You click on this. This will tell you the code is there. See, it's saying over here, Google this code is there. You see this code? So all these codes are currently there in Myntra.com. Myntra is using AdWords conversion tracking, Google Analytics, and Google Tag Manager. So it's called Google Tag Assistant. I would suggest whenever you get time, please go ahead and add this as a Chrome extension. This tells you what kind of codes are basically installed in a website of any customer. Make sense? Cool. So now let's go back to more examples. Let me close this. Okay, this is done. Okay, let's take this done. So let's see. Praful is the has bought a new device. So I go to flipkart.com with my Chrome. A new client ID is generated. So I close this and again open with Firefox. So will it give me one more ID or not? Or will it use the same ID? So I go to flipkart.com. I get a Google client. I get a Google client ID. Let's say number is 808080. This is assigned to me. So if I go again using Firefox, will I get one more client ID or Google will know that I am a repeat user? Why will it give me a new ID? Why can't the same device, right? Same MAC address. So Yashu says it will know that I'm not a new user, and it will think that I am a repeat user. Am I right, Swastik and Yashu? Shreya says new browser. So guys, very simple. If it is a new browser for the first time, it will treat you as a new user for the first time only. So because I'm going again from Firefox, new browser is new user. That's why one person can be classified as two users by GA. But how does it matter? My segmenting will be same, right? Though I'm getting two user ID, when they do marketing, they'll club them together because my behavior is same. Am I right? And we do marketing at level of segmenting and not individual level. Same way, can two persons be classified as one user? So again, I go to flipkart.com through Chrome. My ID is 808080. I log out. My wife logs in using Chrome again. Okay, will it give the same ID or a different ID? Because my wife is logged in, will it give it a different ID or will it give it the same ID? Same ID. Why same? It's a new user altogether, right? Should give a new ID altogether. Browser is same. So what? It's a different user altogether, my dear friends. Okay, Vivek says maybe different because I do that. So Vivek, I told you right. Yes, I told you right that it does not really look for login information. So unfortunately, it will think it's the same user and it will give a same ID. Even if I log in after 30 minutes, it will not give me as a new user. Session count will increase, user count will remain the same. Swastik. Session count is different than user count. I'm asking about the user ID. Even if it's more than 30 minutes, session count will not change. Right? People make sense? So that's one reason why sometimes you may think the it's it's possible that two users may be classified as one user. Mm, okay, Swastik, let's say you go to GA today, right? You go to Amazon.com today and you browse the website, you close it. Correct? That means you are the first time user of Amazon.com. Correct? Now you go again after 2 days, right? Swastik, you go again after 2 days. Do you think GA will think you as a new user whenever you go back to Amazon.com? So if you go after 4, 5 days, will it think it's a repeat user or a new user? Forget guest. Forget guest. Unique user or repeat user? So a person uses a different Gmail ID on Chrome with the same laptop, it still consider the same user. Okay. Unique. Okay. So Google Analytics does not look in for your sign-in information, honestly. So let me go and repeat an example. So when I go and I type in Amazon.com, for example, over here, the moment I open Amazon.in, it checks, okay, from this device, did I get any click earlier from this browser? Correct? It does not check whether I'm signed in to Amazon, yes or no. If it sees, okay, from this device, from this browser, there is no cookie at all, it would be the first user and you will get a Google Click ID, some number, let's say 808080. So this is user. Session is independent of users, right? First of all, Swastik, you have to understand user and session are two different things. Is that clear? Session is basically on the page what you are doing. User is when a new person comes in. If I come back to the website after 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 day or 2 day, it will check, okay, I see there was one entry from this device, from this browser, and there is a cookie there. So it will think me as a repeat user and not give me one more Google Click ID. My session will be increased. That's why sometimes you may see less number of users and more number of sessions. And to answer your question, Sandhya, it does not check for your login information. So even though you're logged in with Gmail, logged in with Amazon, it does not matter for Google Analytics. Cool, make sense now? Everybody, Swastik, Sandhya, Yashu, Hiral, it tracks number of not devices, it tracks number of users and number of sessions. Let's not get into devices, let's not confuse yourself, right? Let's not confuse yourself. It looks for Google Click ID, that's it. If it's there or not there. Clear on how can two different people become one user? Cool. Now let's proceed further. Right? Sometimes is it possible that no data is shown? So I go to GA and I do not see any data of my website. Possible? Why? Three reasons. First thing is code is only not implemented. If code is not there, you will never see data. Second thing is code is there, but you do not have any 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 person who has come to your website. Cookie is deleted, but if cookie is deleted, I should have some data then. So before the cookie was deleted, I should have some data. So the data is showing zero at all, completely zero, right? So possible that somebody has not even come to your website. That's also possible. Third problem is Third problem is that the code may not be installed properly. That's also possible. But the code is not installed properly. That could also be a reason for you not to show on the website. Yes. So three reasons why you may not see data. The code is not present, if the code is copied incorrectly, or no visitor is there. Now let us look at bounce rate. What is bounce rate? The percentage of sessions with only one user interaction. It also means that it does not matter how much time the user spent on the page. It can't be counted as there is no second interaction on it. So let's now, I just went to Amazon.com, right? Did I click on anything over here? Did I click on anything over here? I went to this website, but did you see me clicking on anything over here? No, right? So even though I've spent a lot of time over here, if I just close it, it would be bounce rate because I did not take any action on this website. Correct? Yeah, that's bounce rate. Traditionally, in web analytics, bounces are count for users who land on a page of website and do not do anything. So that's a bit about sessions and whatever. Now let's go and check few things on our GA interface. Okay, cool. But till now, any questions on your this thing on what is sessions, what is views, why we will do that, why it is not needed? Yeah, I pause for a second over here. Think if you have any questions. How many of you actually opened an account yesterday on GA after I told you? Right? Okay, cool. So let's say, how do you open an account, right? Let me just check my page some time. So when you open the account, what did you see? What did you see over there? So you open the account, right? You must have seen something over there. What did you see? Let me share my screen. I don't see anything. Like graph data on the home page, account. Okay. So did you see an account hierarchy that you have an account, you have web property, and you have a view? Do you see that? Something like that. Go back to my admin page. So you will see there's an account, property, and a view. Yeah. So with one email address, you can open 200 accounts. Why? Let's say I am a agency. Is it possible that I may handle multiple accounts? So don't you think you should have an option to have multiple accounts with one email address? Yes. Now, what do you think is web property? You can try to understand what do you mean by web property over here. Okay. So let's go and see this example. Let's say Dell. Is Dell a name of a company? Yes. So do you think Dell will open an account with its own company name, Dell? Now Dell may have different divisions under it, like Dell laptops, Dell desktops, Dell corporates, Dell drivers, Dell mobile phones, Dell support, Dell investors. All this will have different divisions altogether. Yes, laptop may be a separate division. Or forget Dell. Let's take an example of, uh, let's say, Amazon. Let me delete this. So let's say Amazon, right? So you have one website for different types of Amazon products. So you have Amazon e-commerce, Amazon web services, example, probably Amazon cloud also. I want to track it separately, correct? Amazon, let's say charity. Okay, cool. So do you agree that they'll have different websites for each or different divisions for each of these businesses? Plus, in e-commerce, you may have different locations. So you have Amazon.in, Amazon.com, Amazon.co.in. So web property is data of a specific website that you want to manage. So you have an account with Amazon, then .com, and over here you will type Amazon.co.in is one property, Amazon.co.uk is one more property, Amazon.co.in is one more property. Correct? Now got it? Now what is view? Now under same Amazon, can I have Amazon India men's, Amazon India women, Amazon India kids, Amazon India sales company, Amazon India lead generation company, different teams. So don't you think I should get this data individual sector wise for me to understand what's working, what's not working? What do you think? Yes. One is all website data. So one data is for the complete Amazon website. Apart from this, should I get data individually for each of the section? So let's say if you are working in men's department, why should you even look at the data of women's department? So I'm making further filters. So this is called view. View is what kind of data you can view. And that's why you see you have an option to add different users for each level. You see account user, property user, view user. Make sense till now? So you open an account, give your site over here, and you have a view of all website data. I can also put some other view, let's say data only for some other thing like men's fashion, women's fashion. I give a name over here and I give the website. So you can have maximum 25 views per 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 property. You can have 100 accounts. Each account may have 50 web properties, correct? And each property can have 25 views. That's the account hierarchy. If I want to add a user, if I add it at account level, he or she can see everything. If I add at property level, they only see for that property. If I add at view level, they only see for that view. Clear? Now, next go further. How will you place the code? Let me go to my Blogger page. 1 minute. Blogger. Excuse me. So this is what my account name is Profus Blog. My property is Geeky the viewer, and view is for the entire website data. The tracking code should be here. See, I go to tracking info, guys. Please pay attention over here. I go to my account, property, see tracking code over here. I click on tracking code. Okay. Now this code has to be copied in my source code of my website. So for Blogger, it's very easy. You go to your layout. Right? So you go to theme, go to theme. And then you have 3 dots over here. Click on edit HTML. And what I will do is, I will just put the code below the tag of my header. Right, so do I have UA over here? Let me check. What is the property? 43788. Control F. 43788. Let me check. Four, three, seven. It's not there. So what I'll do is I'll copy paste this code if needed. So I'm using some tracking of GTM also under the head tag, and I'll save this. Cool. Now, Praful, you'll ask a question. Praful, why was a code placed after the head tag and nowhere else? First question. The next question is, if I go to my blog, you see I have one, two, three, 4 pages. Am I right, people? I have 4 pages in my blog, main, sports, Bollywood, thank you. I have changed the code only on one page. So do you think this change will affect only one page or all the pages? I repeat my questions. People, if you're not able to follow, please ask. Till now it's clear how to get the code. All pages, right? But I have put it only on one page. You see the source code? When I went over there, I changed the source code only on one page. Let's say I have 10 more links. Ideally, I should go and change the source code of all 10 landing pages. Ideally, yes. Yeah, I have to write. I have to write. But over here, I only change on one page. So first question is, why should you put it on the header tag? To answer very simple, right? This is the code, right? If you put the code somewhere down, so the code of GA is from top to bottom, left to right. If you put it somewhere down, sometimes it is possible that the user may close the page before the code loads. Possible? So Java codes, right? If you have too many codes and if the page is slow, sometimes it's possible that by the time the code actually comes to the JavaScript, the user might close the page, so you may not see data. That's why it is advisable to keep the code at the top after the header tag. Second thing is, if you are using a CMS, CMS is content management system like Blogger, Wix, WordPress. What do you mean by content management system? You don't do coding, you use templates and make website. Am I right? One is you have source code. Right? So in CMS, the moment you put a code on any one page, it will automatically make changes in all the other pages on its own, unless you tell them not to do it. So that's the advantage of Blogger or Amazon Web Services or Wix or Joomla or Drupal. You don't have to really struggle to make changes. Over here, though I have put the code on the home page, it will go and check on all the pages. Make sense, everybody? Cool. Now, what you have to do is third thing. Okay. So you have made an account and you have made a property. Now you have to make a view. And now fourth thing is you have to make a goal. So remember overview, you may have an option to track view of individual pages, but always keep one view of all the website data, because tomorrow, let's say after 1 or 2 years, you want to go and check data of some other page which you were not tracking earlier. Possible? Something which was not important 1 year back can become important now. Possible? Like if you were using, if you were not using hand sanitizer 1 year back, now that's your main business, right? So what you should do is, GA does not give data of past history if you have not, if you're not checking the code properly. So if you do not capture all website data, tomorrow after 1 year, if you want to take data of the complete website, it may not be possible. So you should definitely have one view of all of the data. Then what is goals? Goals is you want to measure the success of your marketing campaign. That's what we call goals over here. So how do I make a goal? So there are two ways of making a goal. Okay. One would be for e-commerce companies, and second thing is for non-e-commerce companies. Okay. So goal. So this is for e-commerce companies, technically, right? And non-e-commerce companies. So you have data of e-commerce settings also over here. So let's first look at non-e-commerce companies. So you want to track how many people have registered online for your website or have put some schedule or booked a table like Zomato, right? Can you book tables through Zomato? You can. Can you book tables to dine out? You can. So did you schedule an appointment? Yes or no? Correct? Or did you make an account, submit content? All the goals. Or let's say I want to make custom goals. Custom goals is, did this come to a page called thank you for order number? So you give a goal name, which is let's say order. So let me give some test. I'll not save it because I can only save 20 goals. Destination, that is, if they come to thank you page, this page, that page, thank you for registering. Duration, if they have spent 5 seconds or more. Number of pages, let's say you they have browsed more than 3 pages, or even if they download something, played some game, yes or no. Correct? Cool. Cool. What is goal? So goal is if you want to capture anything. So if I go back to my website, my goals, let me go and check. This is my first goal, blog visit, right? That is, if anybody comes to my blog, right, and spends more than how many seconds? Let me check. Blog visit, edit, spends more than 5 seconds. I'm counting it as a goal, and my deal is I'm getting $1 revenue. I'm just giving a fictional figure. So that way I'm tracking my goals. You got the concept of goals, everybody? Yes, that's one way to check goals. Cool. Now let's go one step further. You see filters over here? Now, why do I have filters? Filters is if I do not want to capture of some company or some IP address. Let's say you are working for Amazon. Example. Amazon has various payment options. Like you can book through Paytm, you can book through debit card, credit card, you can book through, let's say, Phone Pay, this, that. Yes. Now, don't you think there will be a testing team which will be constantly, please, who may constantly check few things? Possible? They may check if it's working well from Paytm or not. They may check if it is constantly maybe working with HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, whatever. So whenever they are testing, is it like one conversion? How will Google know it's a test conversion or it is a normal conversion? Is there another question to answer? So don't you think your conversion rate may get inflated? I'd repeat my question. If there is a testing team who is testing your various payment gateways, first thing is clear, correct? Now, for Google Analytics, how do you create that? Yashu, how do you create test goals? And how do you remove that data? Okay, you can create test goals. Okay, how do you how do you test that goals and how do you remove that data? Let's wait for a second and wait for a second for everybody to check on that. Oh, but then let's say Amazon.com, right? Yashu, more than 1,000 testing every day. You'll get 1,000 test accounts. I'm going to say. Okay, I'll repeat once again. So let's say Amazon.co.in, right? Do you have multiple options to make payments over here through Paytm, through PhonePe, through Visa card, Mastercard? Correct. So don't you think there will be a team which will try to test everything before it goes live? Yes. So how will GA know that? So let's say, let's say you are getting 50 clicks from this, and all 50 conversions. If you include this data in your final report, don't you think you will see lot of test conversions also? So you put a filter to remove the data. What are filters? Do not count this data for my final reporting. Now it's clear what we have filters. You see over here filter options. Everybody over here. Yes, 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 no, not sure what is filters. Filters is whether you want to remove some data from your final reporting, yes or no, right? So filter type would be, let's say, exclude, try from the IP address, and you give your IP address of the company, and this data will be not be added for your final conversion. So simple, right? Got it? Filter. Why we use filters? Absolutely yes. Let me go to custom. See over here, exclude data from, let's say, campaign source, campaign thing. I have all these different options to remove data from my thing. That's the concept of filters. Cool. And you can explore more on this, but did you get the concept of filters now, as of now? Yeah. Now let's go back to one more concept. Let's go to facebook.com. Okay. But is this concept clear? Accounts, properties, views, goals. How do you track goals and how do you use filters? For you, the basic is clear, right? As of now. Anybody got any question before I proceed? because that is the most interesting. Rest all you can learn to know all this. Any questions from anybody? Zain, Vishal, Yashu, Tapas, Shivam, Gitika, Siddiq, Sonal, Hiral, Angel, Swastik, Vivek, Lobo, Sonal, Naufal, Vismeet, Farid, Vijay, Mayank. Perfect. So now let me go to Facebook. You see this ad is coming to me from pgppro.isv.edu. I click on this. Let me copy this somewhere. There's one more from Max Life Insurance. First of all, over here you see Facebook click ID, FBC LID. This is how Google tracks the IDs. Yeah. Now let's go to Max Life Insurance. Okay. So now let's say all the clicks that you have got, will you want to track? Will you want to track how many clicks came from which source? I'm going to say from Facebook, from Google, from my email marketing, or from my content marketing. Will you want to track that data? Yes. Second thing is, can you have multiple campaigns running, like big $1 billion sale, UTM get code promotion, COVID-19 promotion, this kind of things? Can you run multiple promotions? And will you want to track from which promotion how many clicks I have received, how many conversions I have got? How will you track that? Have you ever thought about that? How will you track that? So if I copied this thing from here, see, Max Life Insurance Term Insurance Plan get code, UTM is through RP, UTM code is this, UTM source is Facebook, medium is WC, which is some code, and the campaign name is WC Facebook O2P add to wish list. So this is one campaign, correct? Correct? How do you get this source and medium and this campaign name is what we have to understand. Let's go and check more, right? Let me go to my email. Mm, mm, Ookla map. Let me see this. If I click on this apply now, 1 minute while it loads. No, not done properly. Some people are not doing Myntra. Let's see. Myntra usually does things, a lot of things properly. Hmm? Nothing is coming over here. Cool, no problem. We go back. Uh, Zomato. Let me click on this. Let's say I click on also. Cool, fun sector. Okay, got it. Now let's go this. Let's say there is a sale. The name of the sale is Women's Day, right? So don't you think you will want to run a campaign only for Women's Day? How do you try that? So go and you will have to make websites for this campaign, landing page. So go to Google URL Builder. What is this? Google URL Builder. Click on this. Okay. So now what do I want to do? You see, this is my website. Campaign source is Google. I'm putting this. So I'll put one for Facebook, one for Google, one for email marketing. Medium is organic. Campaign name is, let's say, Board Infinity Test. Campaign term is testing. And content is let's test. Now this has become my URL. Okay. If I open this, let's see what will happen. So if I open this, it's opening my blog only. Now let me go to my real-time reports. Okay, anybody also open this from your end? Let's see. What do you get? Why is it not going to everyone? Okay, cool. Now you see source. See keyword is testing. You see keyword. That's the content I put over there. Testing, right? Traffic source. Let me go over there. See, the traffic says organic and Google. So 6 people have come to this website. So what is the medium organic source Google? How did I get this? Because you have opened this page. Medium organic campaign is all this stuff. Right? BI test. So this is how you can do your tracking code. Now let me change this. Campaign source is Facebook. Medium is SMM. BI test, whatever, right? So now I will again go and open this separately. Okay, now let's see. It's loading, 1 minute. You see, one traffic is from Facebook. Though I've not come from Facebook, I've given over here, my source is Facebook, medium is SMM. So this is what you will do when you launch multiple campaign. You need to make a URL for everything and give this to users, right? Email, or when you get WhatsApp or SMS messages, this is how it becomes a short link. You get this, right? Bitly links. This is how they will track data. If it's coming from Facebook or Google or from organic or public, you have to make these URLs. So you'll make different URLs for each type of product, for each type of promotion, and give it to this. And this is how you will get data on your website. This is how you will know how much traffic is coming from Facebook, from which medium, for which keyword. If I go over here, I will also look at keywords. So which keyword is giving me how much traffic, from which location, everything will be over here. See, all testing, because I've only given testing, right? 4 people have come from mobile. It shows over here, top active page. This is my mobile page. This is my desktop pages. So there are some 4 users who are coming from mobile. But is it clear why we use Google URL Builder? So let's say Flipkart is doing something called Big Billion Dollar Sale, right? So the campaign name would be Big Billion Dollar Sale, and they will make one URL source as Google, right? One more for medium as pay-per-click, and one more for medium as organic, and then they'll put keywords which they want to track. let's say men's fashion, women's fashion, menswear, so on and so forth. And that will become your Google tracking code. So you may make 5, 6 times like this, and you will give this one on Facebook, one on Google. So you remember when you make Facebook ads, you'll give for Facebook. When you make Google ads, you'll give for Google. What is going to happen if somebody puts in URL in a browser, but missed one character campaign ID from URL, still going to track? It will not track. It should match exactly, Vivek. It will show as, yeah, as I said, it will show as direct, and it will not be attributed to any campaign name. It will show as the user came directly without any tracking mechanism. But this is clear on what is tracking. There are few rules which you have to follow when you do this, right? Few rules which you have to follow is you should not use full caps. Try to use something like this: first caps and less all this, right? Second thing is you should definitely definitely not give any spaces in between the words. If possible, you can go ahead and you can give a underscore if needed. Correct? And the third thing is you should use it for all these sources. So one thing is for campaign name whatever, try not to give all caps. Try to use a mixture of like a normal character. First letter should be capital, rest all smaller letters. Do not give space in between. That's why you sometimes you see some symbol of percentages. That means that they had used a lot of space in between. Try to use underscore if needed, but do not use spaces for this kind of a campaign. Correct? Yes, everybody. Now let us go and see some reports on over here, right? So let me go to the account of analytics. So once you install the code, you will start seeing data. Now, how do I check reports? So you see the first tab over here called customization. Click on this, and you have dashboards, which you can create. And you can also have a rule where automated reports can be sent to the customer as and when required. Okay, so create. So when you create, you have an option of having a started default dashboard or make your own custom dashboard. What is default dashboard? Default dashboard will give you a lot of basic data which is needed for your starter. See, you'll get this. All users, new users, session browser, all this stuff, right? So let me go back to my dashboard of starter. I don't have too many delete. Board and frame text. So this is like a dashboard of starter. Let me look at a longer data range. It's very small, last 7 days. So let me look at a date range of Jan till now. 1 minute. Let me go to the other account, demo account. loading, guys. 1 minute, okay? Now let's go to dashboards. Yeah. So there is a report called real time. If I want to make a new report, I click on this and make report. Or if I want to check some other report, there's a site performance dashboard. This gives me basic data of what is happening on my website. It's loading, 1 minute. See how many users are there with sessions. Average page load time. So it takes 4 seconds for my page to load. Mobile it takes 5.5 seconds. Domain lookup, 4.22 seconds for new users. Filtering, this is the thing. And from which browsers I've got sessions. From which countries, right? Which pages were more and more famous. So all this is a dashboard data which you can check in your account as well. Then you have real-time report which I just showed you, correct? A real-time report which I just showed you a few minutes back. Now audience acquisition behavior conversion report. Let me show you all these three reports with screenshots. These reports are very, very important for your browser activities. I have copied all this in PPT. Yeah, this PPT I'll share with you because anyway that's a test account. So I'll share this one PPT with you of analytics, in fact with your training coordinator, so that they can share with you, which is of analytics, right? Very, very basic stuff that I have made over here. Oh, which I made last evening. Yes. Zoom share. So we're getting into reports, right? Let's see reporting. So the first report is called your audience report, right? So you have audience, you have acquisition, behavior, and conversion. What do you get in the audience report? Who, how, where, and when. If I zoom it a bit, you see how many are active users, what is the demographic, interest, which geo they are coming from, what is the behavior, the technology. When you say technology, it basically means uh, from which browser are they coming, Chrome or Firefox, and which browser version are they coming, so on and so forth. Okay, so this audience report tells you who, how, where, and when. It gives you a report of the demography, geography or location, behavior, right? When I say behavior, it's basically it's basically their interest, what kind of interest, what kind of a topic they are talking about. Technology, right? Mobile phone. So this gives you a data of what is my audience currently doing and benchmarking. So this gives me a data of active user. What is active user? How many people are coming back within a day, within 7 days, 14 days, and things. So active user report gives me information about what is the long-term engagement with your audience. What does demographic report teaches me? How many of them are male and how many of them are female? I can also segment them by device. Device means Android traffic, iOS traffic. Now, if you see, in iOS, I have a bigger chunk of female population and lower chunk of male population. So basically, if I'm a female-centric product, I will definitely try and target, okay, right? I'll try to target iOS. If it is male, I'll try to target Android because I have a bigger chunk in Android and very small chunk in Apple. So that's the reason I'm trying to do that. Correct? So it will help me understand the age, gender, and my audience composition, and how do I take it forward from there. Next is interest report. Now, why do you think interest report is important as a marketer? Device, yeah. As a marketer, why do you think this interest report is of importance to you? Absolutely. It helps me to understand where my audiences are doing what and then target people based on their interest level. Brilliant, Yashu. Right? So let's see interest overview. So people who are coming to our website are mainly affinity means their interest, are technophiles, shutterbugs, social media enthusiasts, TV lovers, so on and so forth. In market is what are they currently searching for in market, right? So people looking for business services, employment, travel, software. So if I'm looking for a real-time audience, this is my thing. If I'm looking for long-term engagement, left thing is mine. Yeah, make sense of this interest level report. Now, next report is behavior report. This tells you how many people are coming back to your website and if they're coming back to your website in how many days. How many days they are coming back to your website, and if they're not coming back, what page are they exiting out of your page or your website, right? Geographic report. This is very interesting. Which locations, which part of the world are they trying to come back from your website? Where are they coming from? And then report of technology tells me which browser they are coming from. If I go deeper, also tells me the browser version. Okay, what network are they using, which phone network, and what's their bounce rate, usage, everything. Okay, so this is a report of technology. A mobile report basically tells me device. If I scroll down much more, see desktop, mobile, tablet, how many are sessions, and this. So how do I check this? So this is the screenshot that I've added from my own account. If you go over here, you go to audience report, you have all this on the left side. You see this? Mobile technology behavior. Same thing I've added over there in screenshots so that it's easier for me to explain you rather than going one by one when it takes time to load. Yeah. See, even you can add this test account. In your account, just go to one place called analytics at Google. So if you don't have data, right, there is a Google merchandise test account. Is test account. Add to your G account to check data for big things. See, I'll suggest all of you go ahead and go to your demo account. Click on this and please get access to the demo account of GA, which they give to everybody in case they want to understand large chunks of data. Can can you all go and do this? So let's say you want to check large chunk of data for some testing purposes. your website may not have enough data. Google knows that. So Google is saying we will give you access to demo account so that you can see large amount of data. Currently, if you check my website, you see all accounts, Google merchandise, you see the top. This is actually a Google demo account for me to check in case I want data. You see demo account? So all of you can open demo account and get this big chunk of data like 1 lakh, 1 lakh 40, 1 lakh 94. Make sense? Will you all go ahead and try and get access to this demo account? Everybody over here? First of all, you know why am I asking you to open a demo account? So that you can get data like this, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, for you to understand and take it forward. Right? Cool. Let's go back to the deck. So this was a mobile report. Now after this, the next report is benchmarking report. Basically, global benchmarking, right? How are you doing compared to the average person of your business? That's what it tries to tell you over here. Okay, acquisition report. What are the different channels they are coming from? Are they coming from organic search, tweet, whatever, AdWords, Search Console, social, campaigns? Now, over here, if you go back to my data, acquisition. See over here, you see all traffic with channels. You see over here campaigns. This is not AdWords campaign. This is all campaigns. I can have email marketing campaign. I can have big $1 billion sale campaign, so on and so forth, right? I can have all these campaigns. If I want to track data only of Google Ads, I click on this, and this is give me data of Google Ads only. My campaigns in Google Ads account. So I have a separate tracking mechanism just to check how I am doing on my Google AdWords. But this campaigns data will give you information of data across all campaigns you are doing. So the two campaigns tabs, one is for all the campaigns, one is only for Google Ads campaigns. So do not get confused, right? So AdWords will tell you to get only AdWords data. Search Console will give you your SEO performance data, your organic performance data. Social will give you your social media, and campaigns is track all your online campaigns. Behavior report will tell you how visitors engage with your site content, points out where site speed may be a problem, tracks what have people searched for when they came to your website, tracks events, let's say different actions, right? So can you add to wish list also? Yes. Can you download something can you download a PDF content? Can you play a game? Can you play a video? If you played a video, how much second you have played a video? So events is your event tracking, which tells you what kind of events or actions the customers have performed on your website. It also tracks your AdSense and other. What is AdSense? If I have a YouTube channel or I have a website, I want to show ads of third-party websites and make money out of that, I become an AdSense vendor. Same way I can tie up with Amazon and other websites. So basically it helps me to track my earnings from other channels straight away. Right? Helps me to track experiments you set up for testing what works, what does not. Next comes conversion report. Helps you in understanding how a conversion happened. Before this, you need to set up conversion tracking. Three main areas: gives you top conversion path, time lag, and path length. What is path length? How many touch points did you do before a conversion happened? Any idea globally? How many of you just go and buy the first time, or do you think you go again and again and again, and then you actually buy after 4 or 5 visits? Do you buy immediately, or do you buy, or do you have multiple touch points before buying? Yeah. So don't you think you should also know your path length, so that if you have a very frequent path length, you can make it like a marketing funnel only. And also, let's say if your time lag is huge, if people are taking 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to do that, then problem. Pardon. Okay. My point is, Yashu, if you have a big time lag, let's say people are taking 21 days, 30 days, 35 days before buying a product, don't you think you should try to decrease the time lag and see what can I do for people to buy slightly quickly and decrease the path length also? And if there's a top conversion path, can I use it across all my marketing campaigns? That was my logic over here. Right? Did you get the point? What I was trying to tell over here? All this data comes from here. Under the conversions tab, if you go, you will see a top length. So you go to e-commerce. So conversion is mainly for e-commerce, right? And then you go to goals. In goals, you get all this funnel visualization, and then you get this multi-channel funnels. See path length, and you get all this. Cool. And one more thing is, for e-commerce, you may want to know which which product is performing really well. You click on this, and it gives you your product performance report. Let me open this over here. See, tells you which product is giving you the highest revenue. You see this? This food is giving highest revenue. Checkout behavior. What are people doing before checking out? See, billing and shopping drop off is 33%. Payment drop off is almost 3%. After seeing review, you have a lot of people drop off. And finally, sales will show this many sales happen. Shopping behavior. Let's see shopping behavior also. This is your e-commerce report only. 148,595 people did no activity at all. 36,850 did not do anything to basket. 5,439 did basket abandon. They added to basket and they removed. 3,037 people did a checkout and then they abandoned. So why? You understand this. And only 229 people bought something from a website. So out of 19,150 session, only 229 has bought. Why is this a big drop? You have to understand this. Is it a good report to understand my shopping behavior? Yes. And finally, you have a thing called AdWords and analytics linking. So can your data of analytics help you in Google Ads performance? Let's say you're getting a lot of clicks from some specific ad, but that ad is giving you high bounce rate. Would you want to know that? You want to, right? So you can link your account of GA with AdWords. However, you should be a common admin user. How do you do that? So you go back to your admin tab, and I'll go back to my view. Praful's blog, all website key reviewer, all website data. Okay, over here you will see Google Ads linking. Click on that. If you are a common user, it will tell you already. Okay, this is the linked one linked account, one linked account. It will link automatically. You just have to go and link it whenever you want. Yeah, makes sense. If I want, I can delete this also and link once again. But you should definitely link your Google Ads account with this. Make sense? Now, my next point is, let's say, click one, Google Ads, click two, Facebook, click three, email, click four is direct, and then purchase of, let's say, $12,000. So now you have made a purchase of $12,000 and you had 4 clicks. So this $12,000, you will attribute the success of this $12,000 to which channel? Have you ever thought about this? So I have got a sale of $12,000. You need to give a small attribution, or you need to give a credit to a channel. So you will give which channel do you think will get this $12,000 under its kitty? You get my question, people? So I have 4 touch points. I made a purchase. Now, whom will you hold responsible for the success? This $12,000 should be given to some channel as a success metrics. Okay, let's say I made a purchase of $12,000, right? That means this is a successful metric. So I made a $12,000 purchase, but to do this purchase, the user had to do 4 clicks. Click 1, click 2, click 3, click 4. So now this $12,000 is a success. So this success will be attributed to which channel? So I will give this $12,000 to which channel? Channel 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one will get the credit of this $12,000? You get my question, everybody? Direct Z, okay. But is it fair? I mean to say the customer come from, so you will say Google Ads, Yashu. So can you give me 1, 2, 3, 4? I mean, can you say Google Ads, Facebook, email direct? So when you're saying source place, I'm not able to understand that logo. Yashu says the customer come from Google Ads. So you give the Google Ads, Yashu. And Lobo, I could not get your question. Source place means what? Source code is there in all the four sources. But then don't think it's not fair. So you maybe somebody clicked on Google Ads 2 months back, and now you are making a purchase. Is it fair? No. But how will you decide that, Vivek? Now you cannot keep it a judgmental call, right? You should have some fixed rules for thing. So what we do is we follow something called attribution model. We leave it on marketers to decide this, right? So if I go over here, you will see something called attribution. So we leave it on the market to decide that what attribution model we want to follow. So they are basically this attribution models. Let me just make this table proper. Right? So let me quickly take you to this. There's something called last interaction model. You choose this. E-commerce companies select this. Last interaction model attributes 100% of the conversion value to the last channel with which the customer interacted. It is useful when we want to know that transaction details for the current moment. So in our example, you will give it to the direct thing. However, the only challenge is you are focusing too much on the last channel. You will not know which sources gave you more engagement. Possible? You will not know which source got you the first clicks and which source were doing whatever. Let's say you play football, right? In football, you have a goal. But what do? In football, you have one defender, pass ball, midfielder, attacker, one more attacker, pass the ball, and a goal. So if you always focus on this person, you will not know the importance of all people who are doing all the passing. Do you think you should know the importance of all the people who are passing and giving you the goal conversion? Yes or no? So this is good if you want to know the current level transaction. The last non-direct click. This model ignores the direct traffic and attributes of 100% of the conversion value to the last channel that customer clicked. In our example, it will go to email, right? By default, GA uses this if you do not make any changes. The last AdWords click model. So if you want to check your AdWords data, you choose this. This mode attributes 100% of the conversion value to the most recent AdWords and the customer clicked before buying or converting. The linear model. What is linear model? Everybody is equal. So you give 3,000 to this, 3,000 to this, 3,000 to this. This looks much more fairer, right? Then you have first interaction model in which you give everything to first. This is for branding campaign. If I have a branding campaign, I want to know which campaign is giving me the most first clicks. I'll choose this. The position based model. What is this? You give 40% to the first click, 40% to the last click, and divide the rest 20% in the clicks in between. Right? So you will have to choose your attribution model based on your own requirement. Right? So this is something which you have to understand when you start looking at bigger data. I thought I'll let you know this on what it is for you to do more research on this. But these are different types of attribution model which I can decide on which one I want to focus more on. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of today's session. Trust me, GA is much more than this. And if you want to learn advanced level of analytics, there's something called Google Tag Manager, which is in demand right now. If you have time and if you want to make a career in analytics, try to learn what is Google Tag Manager. My advice. Right? It helps you to manage multiple tags at one place. Same thing, you have Omniture, one more tool. Try to learn that tool. That's also very, very important. Adobe Omniture. It is a very good competitor of Google Analytics, so you should learn that as well if you want to definitely make career in analytics. These are two different products which are in much more demand. Yeah, but definitely there is a lot of demand for analytics currently, but you need to pay a lot of focus. You need to learn at least one tool, either BI or data science, or let's say you will have to learn something called business analytics, R language, machine learning. You may have to learn that if you want to get in a slightly bigger position. Cool. So I'm done. I don't know if you have any questions from for me. This 2 weeks just passed very well. Hopefully, you guys learned a lot of things from me, which will help you in your career. So Zaid, Vishal, Yashu, Tapas, Shivam, Sonal, Hiral, in Swastik, Vivek, Lobo, Sonal, Nofal, Vismit, Vijay, Mayank. Any questions for me? Please do not hesitate and type in if you have any questions for me. But was it useful, your time that you have spent with me? I know we have only touched basics, but it's for you to carry on from here. Pleasure, Smith, but just remember, this is just the beginning. You will have to do a lot of self-learning. Pick up one specialized domain and learn it completely. Then you can slowly expand on other. But pick up one domain which you like, learn it completely, and then slowly go on other domain strengths. Yeah, my pleasure, Hiral. So, training coordinator content. I don't have a number, Nofal. I'm going to say you should have that number. I don't have that number. Maybe he or she is checking over here. They will contact you. How can I interact with previous sessions with you? So all the trainings are actually recorded, and so all the trainings are recorded. So they will share with you, right? I have been here since 2 days. Lobo, maybe the training person will get back to you on this. Dashboards. Yeah, so there's a message from the coordinator. They are saying the program trainer's numbers is there on your account platform. Okay, very simple, right? So everybody may have a different training program coordinator. Number is there. You can just call on the number logo. Yeah, and they will definitely guide you. The training team is very, very helpful. I suggest just open your blog for time being, Vivek, and let your blog go on for free. Try to promote your blog from different places and see if you are able to get good free traffic. Then use paid traffic. Vivek, my suggestion. Try to get more subscribers on your blog and see if you can expand from there. Pleasure, Sudeep. Cool. You should check with your training coordinator on this. I am also not sure. Yeah, you're welcome, Vishal. Just talk to your training coordinator. See any admin thing about your exam content, talk to training coordinator. Maybe, and if you have any questions about whatever we have learned, then I will be glad to answer you. Pleasure, Lobo. Pleasure. So, people, I guess we have no more questions with the topic. So, take care. Have a nice day. In case you want to be in touch with me, please do not ask me for personal business search over here. If you want to be in touch with me, my LinkedIn profile is Praful Jain. Once it opens up, maybe I'll let you know, and we can connect over LinkedIn. But again, do not ask me personal business recommendations. People will say, "This is my website, get me traffic." I can't do that unless I do a proper consultancy. I check what's happening, what's the problem statement. It's difficult to do something in 5 minutes. It may take 1 or 2 months for us to understand what's happening, right? So this is my LinkedIn profile for people who want to be in touch with me. Yeah, cool then. Take care, everybody, and have a nice evening. Take care of your health, and please do not go out unless required. Uh, Bye for now until we meet again. Yeah, pleasure, guys. Bye, 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 everybody.